Right. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Okay, I'm ready. Are you ready, Philip?
I'm ready, man. I've been ready. I've been born ready.
Recording is happening.
You know what I'm saying? I'm ready like Jonasi. The moment he wakes up, good to
go. Role model for achieving a lot of things. You think you're limited by time.
You know, so here's a funny joke, a little inside joke, a little bit of oversharing for the listeners and you. So there's this funny thing that's been happening on Instagram. Instagram sends me some really bad ads. And to spoof it, I engage with those bad ads. But now it begets more bad ads. So in the past month or so, I've been getting, with increasing frequency, ads about like erectile dysfunction, lasting longer, you know, down the men app.
Sure. Phil, yes, that's the reason. Phil, you think I'm new to this? I ain't new to this. I'm true to this. I know how PR works. You're making sure that if anyone raises it in the future, like, no, guys, no, I spoke about it on the podcast. No, of course I'm not using erectile dysfunction medication.
You know what? I don't even have to rebut that because, like, it'll be a wild thing. Like, should I call somebody? Like, we're not doing that. But what I do find funny is, you know, like Instagram has such snitches, right? Because when they show you an ad, they'll show you, yo, we're showing this ad. Do you know Dan also follows us? So like you can click on the ad and it'll show you all the followers. So I'll send you a screenshot of some of the people that we know.
But if you're following erectile dysfunction medication on Instagram,
I've not only engaged with the ad, but I followed the page.
I mean, yeah, that's going a bit far, guys. Come on. But we all use social media differently.
I say all that. Mm-hmm. I say all that to say, I find it hilarious because they've been speaking about how, in general, right, as you approach 40 and beyond 40, you know, your virality dips drastically. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have the oomph anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But look at Jonasi. My man, it was so bad. My man's needed he needed like a hot swap. Like he'd go to one ship like, it's fine.
Okay, wait, hold on. Spoilers. I haven't finished it. I'm on episode. I've just finished the first 2 episodes.
I'm not giving you detail. All I'm saying is that man. All I'll say is, for someone that was that wealthy, I've never seen such poor control. Like just flailing, just any which way, just beep, 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 like, you know what I mean? No discernment, nothing.
You're saying you've never seen that?
Like, damn. Okay, up close and okay. You know what? You're right. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying. I know where you come from. I feel you. I've just never seen it, obviously, from the other side, where you just you hear the story, but you don't really internalize it. You know what I mean? Like, you hear the stories and you hear the numbers being put up, and you're just like, But it's one thing to hear it and it's theory. It's another thing to see it and you're like, yeah, that's actually what it would take to put up those type of numbers. And keep in mind, right? So, granted, this isn't it's kind of a spoiler, but it's a spoiler. Let me count. So during the season, season 1 of The Polygamist, Jonasi does.
Are you telling me there's more than one season?
No, they probably going to do season 2 because, you know, Netflix can't, even if it's a limited series, if it does numbers, they can't help themselves. They'll do a season 2. They'll always do it.
I mean, it's definitely done numbers in Africa, but do you think it's done numbers?
Oh, it's doing numbers. I saw the production company put out a tweet today. They're like in the top 5 in 15 countries across the world.
Yeah. Shout out to Nyathi, man. Shout out to Nyathi.
So in 22 episodes, he did at least 6 women that we know of. Over what could be considered a 2 to 3 year span on the show. Those are low numbers compared to his compatriots.
Oh, snap. Top TV shows on Netflix globally as of today, June 18, The Polygamist is number 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're doing numbers, my guy.
Hey, shout out. Hey, shout out to Nyathi, man. In case you're wondering what we're talking about the global, continental definitely, and a lot global reaction to the Netflix hit TV show, The Polygamist. If you guys are listening to us, before it dropped, we told you that there's a Zimbabwean who's got a show about to drop on Netflix. Then it dropped. We announced it's just dropped. And now after a week, people have been going crazy over it. People are talking about it all over the world. And it's literally, it's driving people crazy. And Jonasi is the main character in The Polygamist. Look, this is not normally the type of TV I would watch. I find it...
No, it's not.
I find it a little bit fantastical. A little bit...
That's the wild part. I was watching this. I was like, I know 5 of these people. I know... I know these people. I know this man. I know them intimately.
No. But even when, at least the ones that I know, even when you know them and they are somewhat Jonasi adjacent.
No, Dan. I know script bar for bar,
but
line for line.
All right, hold on though. Hold on. At the risk of being a Jonasi apologist. I mean,
of course you'd be.
No.
You'd apologize.
No, don't say me. I am as goody two shoes as a person. I'm saying this man was targeted. It was a tactical precision attack, and he was not.
It was, dude. There was nothing close to precision or technical about it. This babe puts up at the laziest, oldest tricks in the book. Shout out to Frida though. Shout out to Frida, the receptionist. Shout out to Frida. It's so good seeing some people that you know winning and succeeding. So shout out to Frida.
She played.
Even the receptionist knew.
She played Boucher.
She knew. I know you. I know what you're trying. I see that skirt. No.
Yes,
this baby's
just because it's a trick that's been used before.
Here's my report, sir. Oh no, I've dropped my pen. Look at my big bottom.
But I don't like. So sorry to detract. I don't like doubt.
No, I understand.
But
no, I know.
Seeing the actors that played Matipa, I too would ruin my family for that. I'd forget I have children. What? F them kids.
That's what I'm saying, Phil. It was a tactical precision attack that he was ill-equipped to handle. My man was riding a boardroom like he was in World War III. Just in the zone. Flow state. Tender after tender. Taking everything that comes his way. But then with this precision attack, he was completely ill-equipped and he couldn't even put up a fight. It was over for him.
The wild part... Okay. By the way, sorry guys, if you have not watched The Polygamist, stop this episode, go watch the show, and then come back.
I mean,
it's dropping spoilers.
No, we can't drop spoilers because I haven't watched. It's 22 episodes. I've only watched the first 2. Just watch the first one, all right?
I'm talking about spoilers for the first. No, the first 2 episodes spoilers. I'm talking about that. Like, it's wild, fam. How would you take your brother's babe?
Yeah, that was
your brother's babe.
Dump him.
And that's when I was like, I know 5 of these niggas. I know 5 niggas just like this who've done this bar for bar, flow for flow.
Also, when I pressed play on it, the default was English dub. So I was like so confused for a sec. And I was like, oh yeah, no.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Your Netflix defaults to Salah settings.
Yeah, standard. But no, I think Phil, remember you are in the land of Zulus. So you have to put it in the original Zulu language. They speak enough English that you'll catch it and you can read the subtitles for everything else.
No, I don't like. So I have been watching it. So sometimes I've been watching it while I'm doing other stuff. So when I'm doing other stuff, I can't be looking at the screen to read the subtitles. So I'll switch to the English dub, and it's night and day. The English dub is so. And another thing that really confuses me, I guess it's probably a payment issue, right? All the actors in that show speak really good English. I don't understand why they didn't get the original actors of the show to do the English dubbing, because the English dub voice actors are atrocious.
I actually have an answer for this. Or at least I think I have an answer for this. There's a whole industry of dub actors. Like there's entire agencies that specialize in just that, and there's actors who specialize in just that. So they've become so optimized at being the dub actors and actresses that it's so much more, it's like hard work to get anyone outside of that industry. I saw that in a TikTok somewhere. I haven't verified it.
Yeah,
but
they were bad.
It sounded
they
true.
Were bad. They took away from the show. They were really bad.
Yeah.
So because there's such this, like, especially I don't like, what I will say is, what The Polygamist lacks in
nuance,
screenplay writing.
Okay.
No, yeah, I guess nuance as well. Yeah, because there are a few plot holes, there are a few things where you're just like, this is questionable. But I think for the most part, the characters ring true. It's a little fantastical at times, a little over the top at times, but it does ring true. But what I will say is the acting throughout that show is some of the best acting. Granted, I don't watch a lot of TV. So, and when I do watch TV, it's usually like a higher rated show because I only have X amount of hours in the day, right? So I don't spend my time watching stuff that is TV that falls within the 6 to 8 p.m. block. You know, your SVUs, your NCISs. You know what I mean? I don't watch those type of shows because but so I'm not really experienced in the quality of the acting that I've seen. But with this show, I will say the cast, chef's kiss. I cannot deny it.
Yeah, you've
The
already told us how
acting
you feel about
was
Matipa.
on point.
You've already told us
No.
how you feel about Matipa. Her acting
No,
was
but
amazing.
I will say,
Top acting.
no, I'm actually being serious.
Yeah.
No, I don't like beautiful. I mean, in terms of casting, would I ruin my family for someone that look like? Of course, very believable. The plots are there. You got me because sometimes you know what I mean. It'll be a show, and I'm supposed to believe that this man risked it all for this woman, and you're looking at the woman, and you're like, guys, she must have a great personality that we're not getting right now. But with Matipa, I'm like, no.
No, that was a
It
precision
all
attack,
makes
I
sense
won't
to
lie.
me because later on in the series, you'll see there's a part where Matipa is having a business meeting, and Panama gaps, and it's the first time she realized, maybe Dinama gaps in my professional knowledge.
So
you'll see that later on.
I want to be a little bit boring and to apply some unasked for attempted intellect into the discussion. And it's because I saw this
Before you
on.
do also, I just want to say that people are being weird about this on the timeline, especially Zimbabweans. I think we've been a bit weird about this.
As in how?
Zimbabweans are being very weird to be like, and it's a Zimbabwean that wrote it. Okay, cool. Like, I get it. We're proud.
Yeah.
But it feels like
Like you didn't believe that it's a thing that can happen. So now,
not only that, how many good books become trash movies or TV shows? Dune. This iteration of Dune is not the first time Dune has been brought to the big screen. The first one was trash.
Okay, Phil. I get the direction you're going, but let's leave it at celebrating for now. The source material was good stuff to work with. It's fine. It's okay.
And it was well adapted.
Yes.
So it's great. So I think it's a team effort. Yes.
Team
Great
effort.
stuff, guys. Everyone involved. Well done.
So I don't know, one of our boys who we follow on Instagram. I can't remember who it was. I think. Anyway, they posted a series of stories that made me think. And he was highlighting, like, as much as I enjoyed this show, I just want to talk a little bit about the banality of evil. I was like, what? He talks about how evil is very often banal. It's not. We grew up with fairy tales being used to a bad guy and a good guy, whereas in reality, most people, like 90% of people, are different shades of morally good, morally bad to different people. They're in different ways. So, for example, Jonasi I haven't watched the whole show yet, but from what he was saying, Jonasi has painted the whole season as this incredibly evil person who just does so much bad for everyone around him. Whereas in reality, these people maybe they're good to their children, but really bad to their wives. Or they're good to specific people, or maybe they're good in church or whatever it is. There's just like a multitude of different facets to these people that there's good and bad. And whenever you create this 100% evil character, it doesn't ring true. That was his analysis. And I was like, you know what? I see that. And he was saying, like, if, let's say, for example, Jonasi was painted as an amazing father, but he was still this fiend when it comes to Baltazaring, then it creates a much richer character.
No, but also that's not Balthazar. But also that's not true though, and because granted, let me not speak out of turn. I've not read the book, so I don't know how the book translated this. But what I will say is, in the show is a snapshot, a 2 to 3 year snapshot.
Yep.
Of descent into
Madness.
Yeah, and as the show continues, what you just described actually it rings true. This man lived almost 2 decades doing a lot of stuff, but being seen in different ways, like being seen as a good person, being seen as a complicated individual, being loved. Because you've watched the first 2 episodes. The kids don't hate him. Right?
No. In fact,
which means
I was gonna say, in fact, like the premise of everything was you for 20 years, you guys were a power couple, loved each other, did everything together, built this business, and then after,
exactly.
yeah. So I guess maybe I need to wait to see the rest of the show.
Yeah. So I think once again, this is the. So I understand the importance of viewing entertainment through a critical lens and media analysis, right? But sometimes it's like writing a 3,000 word essay on a Tyler Perry production. It's like, you know what I mean? Sometimes you've got to have the fantastical to highlight how even the most evil villains draw parallels and have similarities to some of the people that have been in regular life. Like when you see how evil and despondent and horrible of a person Jonasi is, I was very easily able to draw parallels to people that I knew in real life that do very similar things. I'm like, snap. And even in that, like, as you just described, sometimes you view them as, you know what I mean? Or he's very loose, he's very promiscuous. But when you see it painted that way, you're like, yeah, he is those things, but he's also evil. He's also callous. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, anyway, I think ultimately, if you've created a story that creates these debates, you've done a great job. The worst thing that you can do is create a story that no one wants to talk about. Like everyone, it's like it happened and then there's no conversation afterwards. And also, to be fair, I think there's room for everything. There's room for complex villains and there's room for villains. And I think you can't expect every villain to be a complex villain. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you just want, this is a terrible person. And other times you want, some of the banality of evil.
Let me actually pull up what I said, because I was watching it and I described it this way. I described him this way. Let me make sure I got it. Here we go. I was also trying to explain why I was enjoying the show. And I was like, this show, it's not great. It's not what I watch. It's not great, but it's very jaw-dropping, but it's very good at keeping you hooked and entertained. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yo, Jonasi is just a black and horny Stefano Demera. Because it's a soap opera.
Reference doesn't... Yeah, I was going to say, well, if this wasn't...
Oh, Stefano Demera, Dan, let me explain this. Stefano Demera is the male protagonist and the evil character in Days of Our Lives.
No.
So if you ever had to watch Days of Our Lives every weekday at 5:30 on SABC 1, this is Jonasi Stefano Demera.
Is he like the evil twin in Sunset Beach? I don't remember the details.
Stefano Demera actually did have an evil twin first. Stefano Demera then married Marlene. Marlene was a witch and was from Salem. And then he died. And then Marlene resurrected him. Dude, like Stefano Demera, that's the wild thing. Like Stefano Demera has died and been resurrected like 6 times on that show. From my memory. And I only watched it for like maybe 5-6 years. Lord knows how many more other times that's happened.
This is what... if it wasn't for the fact that it's based on a book written by a Zimbabwean, it's in South Africa, which I can relate to because that's like next door and I'm there a lot, I probably wouldn't watch it if this was like an American show.
For now, I don't know. They're shipping us out there.
Yeah, that's also true.
Which I'll come to later.
Also true. I have it in our notes for we need to talk about it. But yeah, anyway, we're talking about The Polygamist. Everyone's been talking about it. What I loved seeing some of the reactions. So, for example, when Davido posted, "Yo, Jonasi is wild."
Dololo self-awareness. Dololo.
Someone said King Von warns the youth about the dangers of gun violence. Yeah. I know you not saying that.
Even Netflix were like, nigga. You nigga?
Bro, you're the source material, bro. Okay, one thing I didn't quite get, right? So obviously the source material is Zimbabwe. Did they just stick to the names? Did they just stick to Zimbabwe names? Jonasi, Matipa. It was just like, yeah, we're just gonna stick to the names that are there, even though it's set in Joburg. I don't know.
I think so. I don't. You know what? Let's do so. Let's. You know what? I know. Let's do some research.
Let's see if we can get Sue on the pod, Phil. Surely we have enough pull to get Sue on the pod.
Yeah. I think easy. Hey, I think before, but now, hey, I swear, Pisa.
Yeah, we should have caught her. We should have caught her last week. It's too late now. No, but we can get her. We can get her, Phil. No, as soon as I finish the show, I'll try and read the book actually, because I think it's worth reading the book. Then we'll try to reach out to Sue. I'm sure we can. But yeah, if you haven't watched it, everyone's talking about it. Be prepared. It's very messy. I saw several people posting it was guys who were posting watching The Polygamist with your wife, and the premise of all the posts are that she is just upset with you for no reason. Just men suck.
Do you know this is when you know men don't have guys. It's actually very easy to watch The Polygamist and build a solid case
100%
for how women are trashed. Let me not lie to you. There's bird behavior throughout that show. You just need to be able to pinpoint it and put it in your back pocket, so that when she hits you with the obvious,
no, Phil,
Jonasi thing, you've got a counteraction.
No, you're making a mistake here. You're making a typical male mistake. The goal here is not to counter her, because you see, the thing is, the show is going to make her feel a certain way. There's no logical counter that you're going to make that's going to affect the feeling. The feeling is still going to remain there. The only logical solution is to attack first before the feeling comes and to say, can you see how other men are doing their wives? Look at these men. Disgusting.
It could be worse. It could be worse.
You could be with Jonas right now and you want to complain that I left the toilet seat up. I mean, come on. You know? Attack first so that the feeling doesn't land. She actually sits there and is like, but live, hey. So no matter how bad things happen, she now frames it and is like, hey, my man is, I've got things I'm mad about him, but at least he's not Jonasing.
At least I know boy try. I know zama.
Let's get serious. Let's actually get on.
We haven't even done the intro, Dan. We're 30 minutes in. We haven't even done the intro.
Okay. Wait. How do we start this show? What do we do?
No. Okay. You press buttons on your soundboard and you're like, are we good to go? Here we go.
Go. Sound a big thing now. Get mad now.
Let me hear a drum play.
Oopsie. There we go. Ah. Right. Wagwane, good people. Welcome one more again to another episode of Two Broke Twimbos. Your boy Danny, that guy's in the building, aka Denias, aka Denford Wekumaraini, aka Denimbi, my life entertainment, aka I will never ever be a Jonasi. Please believe me, aka Aguna Mumwenti Danmu.
That's right. That's why he's zero on you. The unmistakable, the maybe evictable. Phil trying to give him first the big boss, pizza pig, Phil, Sexington, Lovo, DJ Mkaradi, and of course Shabby Dingro drink. I'm currently camping out there. I'm currently camping out in the heart from Mzansi. Hoping they don't find me. It's real out in the field right now. Real in the field.
Aywa, stay strong. Represent. Unfortunately, South Africa drew their game. Take that how you will. But yeah, let's actually get into the show. Let's get into the show.
I was 100% behind Czechia right now. I was so behind.
Not
for
me.
the first time in my life.
Not me. I was supporting my wife's country, and I was hoping for their win. As a positive person that I am.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh really?
Let me keep the vein of positivity going, Phil. Let's get into Africans doing it big. Let's focus on, first of all, a Zimbabwean who made some. Okay, let me introduce this person correctly. This lady was running at the Comrades Marathon. Are you familiar with that, Phil? Yes,
I'm familiar with the. As you know, Dan, I'm an avid competitor.
Comrades Marathon was last Sunday, the 14th of June. The run was it was from Durban to Pietermaritzburg.
Yo. Yeah, and run is the optimal word there, because there were a lot of runs.
Anyway, Zimbabwean ultra-distance runner Nobukosi Chuma finished second at the 2026 Comrades Marathon on Sunday that we're talking about, so congratulations. She was just behind South Africa's Gerda Stein, who came first. But yeah, congratulations to Nobukosi Chuma for coming through with the silver over at the Comrades Marathon, one of the respected marathon circuits in the world. And it's a huge shout out to Zimbabwe and representing, doing their thing. While we're talking about Africans, there's African teams that are playing at the World Cup to varying levels of success. Some you would expect to do better. Others, have got strong teams. But there was the team Cape Verde. Cape Verde, who are a minnow when it comes to global football. Well, they were coming up against favorites, or one of the favorites for the World Cup, Spain. And they played a heroic match. I watched that match. And it was like, you remember 300, Phil? That's what I was reminded of, the movie 300, where we had 300 Spartans against 1 million Persians. That's what it felt like. A heroic defense that gained them their first ever World Cup point in their World Cup debut. It sounds crazy to celebrate a draw, but you have to understand, it's like seeing an all-star team held by schoolboys, and no disrespect to Cape Verde. I'm not trying to say that they're schoolboys. I just mean like the gulf in expectations was so big. The goalkeeper is 40 years old. I forgot his name. Did I put it here in the notes?
He's now an Instagram influencer, if you've seen.
Yeah. My man was holding on for dear life. The team was fighting. You could see them like strain every sinew to keep Spain out. And at full time, everyone was just like, applause. Yo. So shout out to the Cape Verde team. It was actually a very tense match to watch. I enjoyed that. And
did you see the goalkeeper went from 50,000 to 2 million followers?
Yeah, I saw that. People were like, who is this keeper, man? Jeez Louise.
Also, shout out, as Dan says, Cape Verde may be minnows in football, but where they are clear knockout champions is with the women. Oof.
Vozinha, that's the keeper's
Those
name.
cutaways. Hey, we need to go to Cape Verde, Dan. We need to go there.
I saw some discourse online that apparently Cape Verde are not very friendly to foreigners. Now, I don't know if that's true, and I don't want to stand on that opinion. I just saw that discourse happening where some people were saying, and other people were saying, yeah, it's true, and others were saying, no, it's a lie, But, so maybe don't get lured too much. Let's do some research first, Philip. But shout out to Vozinha, the keeper for the Cabo Verde national football team, who did his thing.
Isn't his name Joseba Diaz?
I don't know what his full name is, but his name is Vozinha.
Joseba Diaz, dude. So during the match, he went from 50,000 to 2 million. Guess how many followers he's on now?
I don't know what.
Take a guess.
3 million? Let me see.
You're close. You're actually very close.
13 million. Wait, how? Hey, the World Cup is huge, bro. What the heck?
Yo, Dan, we should have gone. Can you imagine it? Wow.
I mean, he's
Wow.
he did amazing, but my man went from 50,000 followers to 13.6 million followers on Instagram. Yeah, shout out to Fosinha.
Just for stopping Spain.
No, but did you watch the match, Phil?
I have not watched one.
Okay,
World Cup game.
the highlights wouldn't even really capture just the tense, just how tense the game was. I watched a couple. I even did the Trevor Noah watch along for the England match, which was pretty cool. Trevor Noah, he had Roy Wood Jr. and they were just sitting there watching the match and talking stories. It was pretty. And I'm kind of I get streaming. I'm getting it because you have the match on and you're watching the match. Then you have the watch along here. Then I was also on the phone with my wife. It was very.
Yo, that's a lot of stimulation.
Yeah.
I'd be way over there.
It was a lot. I won't lie. It was a lot. And it's like, are you listening to me? Yes, Trevor. Babes. Yes, babes. Anyway, so yeah, shout out to Cape Verde and the other African teams at the World Cup. While we're talking about the World Cup, may as well mention the fact that it's on. I am a fan of football. I'll talk about some of the matches that I've watched. I watched, a lot of the matches I've only looked at the highlights. For example, I did want to stay up to watch Messi. Messi is my favorite footballer. And it just brought tears to my eyes to know that he scored a hat-trick. But that match was also at like 3 a.m., so I only watched the highlights afterwards. But I watched France-Senegal. Such a dope match. I watched, like I mentioned, I watched England versus Croatia. I watched, what else did I watch? I haven't watched too many. I think the rest of it was just I was looking at highlights. A couple of minor talking points. I've noticed that obviously everyone loves superstars, but the fact that the World Cup is in America, it's entirely about individuals. It's insane. I get it. Lamine Yamal is the Spanish star. But every time you watch football, yes, the star players mentioned a couple of times here and there, but it's mostly about the team. American sports feels like it focuses entirely on the star player. It's everything. Lamine Yamal didn't even start the match, bro, but his name kept coming up. Every 30 seconds was Lamine Yamal. You wonder when the coach is going to bring on Lamine Yamal. Like, yo!
Which commentary was this?
It was Fox.
Which channel?
Fox.
Ah, well, there you go.
Yeah. Anyway, eventually comes on. Lamine Yamal, come on, Lamine Yamal. I was like, yo. It got to a stage where I was like, dude, this is a team sport. Like, I guess it's different in American sports, and I don't really watch American sports. I was going to ask you, Philip. Is like the NBA, the NFL, are they like super focused on the individual star players?
Yep. But it also depends on the quality of the commentary. So, not to cast aspersions, but it's fun to do so. Americans' football coverage, whenever I've come across it, has always been terrible. Which is why, like, the best American football pundits are an English woman, a French superstar, and a former Manchester City player on Paramount Plus. Because Americans are really bad at football. It's the same reason why I hate like Formula One's native coverage. I always switch to the Sky Sports coverage. But yeah. But yes, it's very superstar focused because that's how they sell their products, that's how they sell their ads. Even worse, like if you're watching an American sports event on an American channel, I think we forget how good we have it here. Because there are ads galore. You know, it's like, have you ever not paid for your YouTube, right? You're on the basic YouTube package and you're in Zim, and you used to watch in a blue moon. You see an ad here.
I have several accounts, so sometimes I'll forget that I'm on a different account, right? And then I'm like open a YouTube video, then an ad plays, and I feel like offended, like
yeah. So that happens, but like when you go to like the first world, those ads hold you by the throat because you can't skip them, huh? It'll be a 20-second ad that you can't skip.
Yeah.
And then there'll be like two. They'll double up. There'll be like 2 pre-rolls. Then there'll be a mid-roll. That's what American football coverage is like. And I've been seeing a lot of people complaining about like the hydration breaks. It's coming. That's quintessential American sports right there.
Yeah. It's literally, we now have quarters rather than halves. And all the the hydration breaks are just ad breaks. But I will say,
and you know what's wild? What I don't get, right? Sorry. before we just move on from this, what I don't understand is football already sells so much ad space because you've got the digital banners on the side of the page that sell ads for specific regions. So depending on which region you're watching from, the ads you see are different, right?
Yeah.
On the side. Then you've got the interstitials where the screen, like what you're watching, will shrink to like the corner of the screen, and then there'll be an ad that'll take over the 60 to 70% of the screen that's left. And they saw all that and were like, actually, not forgetting.
Halftime.
Obviously, you've got the ads before halftime, before the pregame, the postgame. Then you've got the ads that are literally on the players' shirts.
Yeah.
And they saw all that and were like, you know what? We're not selling enough ad space.
Yeah.
Let's sell some more ads.
I mean, capitalism will capitalize, but okay. So so that whole focusing on the individual superstars. Again, I don't know how to explain it. It's not that obviously when a team has a star, there's a lot of focus on them. But when I watched the American commentary, it felt like it was all about them. I would feel a little bit offended if I was some of the other players. So it was the same with Lamine Yamal. It was the same with the Norway match when it was all about Haaland. It was the same with Messi. It was worse. My goodness. Argentina may as well not have existed. It was just Lionel Messi. So I think everyone was super chuffed. It felt very scripted, the fact that Lamine Yamal didn't have a great game, obviously, because Cape Verde did incredible heroics. But the Mbappe scored a brace for France against Senegal, including an incredible. In fact, Mbappe had a terrible first half, but his second half, it was like, man, I really want to hate on this guy because all indications seem to show that he's an arrogant dictator. But this guy can play football. So Mbappe had a brace, so superstar comes through. Haaland had a brace, superstar comes through. Harry Kane, viewed as the England superstar, had a brace, comes through. Lionel Messi had a hat trick. Everyone's like, all right, the actual GOAT comes through. Let's see what Ronaldo's going to do. Dololo. Shame, man. And I was like, and I am dying at the Homelander memes. It's Ronaldo as Homelander. It's Homelander. It's so funny, man. I can't stop laughing. And Elon Musk is a terrible person. But auto translate. You know what? I can forgive you. Bro. Because Brazil Twitter, Spain Twitter, it is so funny. There's this whole subplot that's happening on Brazil Twitter where they're likening the entire World Cup to an anime, right? And each of the characters are coming. There's Naruto as I think Mbappe, and it's so good. Brazil are cooking right now, and so in SA, if you check on Twitter, you get like auto translate. Here in Zim, you still have to manually translate tweets, but like there's so many like Portuguese tweets from Brazil that are so funny, bruh. I've been in tears this whole World Cup. I've been enjoying it so far. So I've kind of gotten into it now.
So fun fact, throughout these playoffs, I'm familiar with Victor Wembanyama.
I am familiar with his existence, yes. The super tall man who plays for Antonio Spurs, is that right?
San Antonio
Spurs. Yes.
So anyway, shout out to the Knicks. Shout out to all the Knicks fans. I got a lot of Knicks fans. I was really happy for them. I know a lot of Knicks fans that also Arsenal fans, so they're having a great year. It would have been nice to see the Spurs win, but I'm actually happy that the Knicks won. Granted, I hate Jim Dolan. He's a terrible owner. He's a terrible person. But it's great to see the Knicks win just simply because of the content that we're getting from Knicks fans. It's some of the best content I've seen on social media. I bring all that up to say, as you're talking about that subplot about like Attack on Titan and Naruto, there's this Twitter account called Jill Feng, JYLFENG. And he's an animator. And he's had an ongoing series throughout the playoffs called Attack on Wemby, where he's been, and Attack on Titan is Victor Wembanyama's favorite anime. He's been having a series where every time he has a playoff series against the team, where he does cartoons that match what's happening in the matches. It's been brilliant to watch. So I just wanted to give him a shout out. Like if you haven't watched them and if you're a big anime fan or you're a basketball fan, go check out his page. He's been doing incredible stuff with those animations. They've been going like super viral. But weirdly enough, his page hasn't blown up that much because I think a lot of people are stealing the content. But it's been a great watch.
This is what I would say.
So all that to say,
yeah.
no, all that to say, it's great to see the subplots around sporting tournaments. I have been seeing the Homelander memes, and I've been dying as well. Granted, I haven't really been watching the games, but I've always been watching the subplots, especially like the sub, as you just mentioned, that subplot of like everyone else is representing, and then Ronaldo comes to the party, and
Yeah. To be fair, it's match one, so like let's all calm
that's
down.
what I'm saying. And I love the overreactions. It's hilarious.
It's so funny. So this is what I'd say. I know a lot of people have stopped using Twitter because it's become this cesspool and all of that, and I completely understand that. But if there was ever a time to reactivate your Twitter account, just interact with a couple of football Twitter accounts so that you don't play in the realm of politics and whatever nonsense. Just football Twitter. It's so funny right now during this World Cup. I am living. I'm telling you, I'm living. People are so funny. But shout out to all the World Cup teams who are doing their job. We're supporting all the African teams, all of them, guys. And
oh, Dan, breaking news.
Yeah.
This account that I just shouted out is also doing animes for the World Cup now. He's got a Messi versus Algeria Naruto mashup as we speak.
I'm loving it, man. I'm loving it. The next thing I was gonna say is the reason why this World Cup is also so good, apart from Germany blowing away, what team did they play? Iraq? No. Whatever team they played against, right? All the teams that have been expected to be minnows, like, nah, these are stat padding teams, you know what I mean? This is where you're gonna get your hat tricks and your whatever. People are actually shocked, like, yo, you've had to work for your wins. So I think it's made it a much more competitive World Cup. The matches have been good. Even the boring matches have been good because there's always something going on there. So, yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing more matches. We're now on match 2 going forward. And I recommend that you open your tweeters. Let's do some tech ombudsmaning, Phil.
Yay!
So I think there's two
I
things.
I got some great feedback from last week's tech ombudsman. So some big wigs listen to this show. It's surprising.
Yeah, no, it's good. They must. It's two smart people with good takes and good networks talking about things that they know some things about. So, if you will recall, last week I was waxing lyrical about Claude Fable. Quick reminder, Fable was the Mythos class model that was just released by Anthropic. It was the next iteration of the Claude model, and it was supposed to be this. Do you remember when Anthropic were like, yo, Mythos is so powerful, it's too dangerous to release to the public. They introduced something called Project Glasswing. Project Glasswing was supposed to be this thing where only the top 50 software companies in the world were given access to Mythos so that they could use it to patch any vulnerabilities that they had in their software, on their websites, etc. Because once Mythos was released to the public, it was too powerful. People would be able to jailbreak and get into everything. And it was crazy hype, and people were like, are we sure this is not marketing? But hey, this sounds mad. Anyway, fast forward jiggy a couple of months, Anthropic were like,
Dan, when did you become so South African? That's a jiggy.
Anthropic were now like, we're now ready to release Mythos to the public. However, because it's so powerful, we're going to put some guardrails on it. So the version of Mythos they released is called Fable, and that version has guardrails that stops it from working on anything to do with cybersecurity or anything to do with biology. And the idea behind that was that you could use it to create bioweapons, or you could use it to hack into basically everything. It's too powerful. So here's Fable, everyone. Super powerful tool. We were scared, but Project Glasswing has done what it's done. All these companies have now come back and said, we've patched all our vulnerabilities. Companies like Mozilla said, like, yo, we literally found thousands of vulnerabilities in our browser because of this tool. Anyway, Fable was released. I used it last week. I used it for just a couple of things, right? I was like, yo, this thing is dope, man. So I refreshed one of my websites. I used it to build our talking points for the podcast and So I was like, I can't wait. This weekend, I am going to do mad things with Fable. But
Famous last words.
Lo and behold, apparently, the US government decided to go I'm dead. Turns out the US government then put out an export control directive against Anthropic, basically forcing them to not allow, or basically stopping them from allowing any foreign national to use this new tool, because apparently it's too powerful and too dangerous. Now, of course, Anthropic were like, what do you mean? How can we find out what a person's nationality is before they use it? Like, you got to figure it out. So like, okay, since we can't figure it out, we have no option but to turn it off, because there's no way that you can, if someone is paid to access this, how will you know if this is a US national or not a US national? In fact, to make it worse, several of Anthropic's own employees are not US nationals. So even they, according to this US export control directive, would not be allowed to use this tool because it's too powerful, air quotes. Now, was it actually too powerful? We don't know. Reports are that a company is the official word. A company approached the US government and said, yo, we were able to jailbreak this tool. Everyone believes...
no, they revealed who the company was.
Well, everyone believes it to be Amazon, but I don't think it was officially said. Was it officially said somewhere?
Yeah, it was, I believe. Anthropic announced it was Amazon.
Is it? Did they announce it? Okay. Yep. But everyone knew it's Amazon. So Amazon basically went to the US government, to Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense, and were like, hey, bro, we were able to jailbreak Fable. So if we are able to jailbreak, that means all those safeguards that are on it are not really safeguards. So the story is, according to Anthropic's statement, when they then got in touch with Anthropic, the US government got in touch with Anthropic. Anthropic were like, oh, no, that's not really a jailbreak. What those guys are describing is, I mean, they're getting around some stuff, yeah, but like you can literally do that to every AI tool. It's not really a jailbreak. But the US government was like, nah, shut it off. So now it's, I guess it depends who you believe, Amazon, Anthropic, or the US government. So for now, Fable has been shut down globally. I've been chuckling sadly at all the memes of people who are saying like the 3 days that I had with Fable. Yeah.
But as you've seen, there's also a local model of Fable, which I find interesting, right? And that's really blowing up on the torrent sites. But what I don't understand, right, is what happens when there's an instance of that LLM having to ping an external server?
So, okay, don't trust what you see on torrent sites. First of all, because remember, everything is based on compute. So even if you get the model on these torrent sites, do you have the incredible data centers, literally thousands and thousands of NVIDIA?
And how many parameters is the local model running versus the web model?
So anyway, so don't worry too much about that. What I would say is, when Fable dropped, right? So this is what keeps happening. The three major AI companies, Gemini seems to be lagging behind, but like we discussed last week, they can't. Surely they can't. But anyway, so as of now, it's been OpenAI and Anthropic going gejge. Each time they release a new model, it's the best. So they have all these manner of tests, like there's various independent and aligned testers. So every time, so when ChatGPT dropped GPT 5.5, it was now the best model in the world. It was beating all the Anthropic models, all the Claude models, etc. Then, before that, when Anthropic released Claude 4.8, it was like the best model. And before that, so it's just like one after the other. So now everyone's expecting when ChatGPT drops GPT 5.6, it's going to be better than, when OpenAI drops GPT 5.6 rather, it's going to be better than Fable. And they're already claiming that, our internal tests show that it performs better. So we'll only know when it drops. So I just did a quick search about this thing that's on torrent sites, right? So Anthropic's model, or rather what leaked to these torrent sites, is Anthropic's Fable 5's character system prompt, which was found by a hacker. So it's not really the entire model. It's their system prompt. Anyone downloading this file from these trackers is simply volunteering their hard drive for a ransomware attack. Anyway. Yeah. So, but as of now, of all the release models, judging by all the tests that they have out there, all the people that test this stuff, Fable is the most powerful model that's out there. Mythos, which is the class, right? Which is Fable without the guardrails, is not available to the public. Now, none of them are available to the public, but it was the most powerful out there. And it, judging from the little bit that I had, the 3 days that I had to play with it, it was so good, man. It was like Phil, how we're so used to just accepting that AI gets a lot of stuff wrong. I felt like it was getting nothing wrong. But I know I don't want to get too hype. I didn't get to properly use it, so I'm sure that it has its limitations. But I won't lie, I was shook, and you probably can tell from how excited I was last week. But yeah, that's the current situation. I think, to me, the most interesting part of it is, hang on a second, the US government can just say shut it off.
Shut it down. Shut it down.
Don't you think the way the world is right now, Phil, it's very likely that soon we might not have access to these things. It's going to be. It's going to be. Please select option. Do you believe Israel has a right to exist before you can continue to use any tools?
Well, I don't believe any nation has a right to exist, but
and then there you go. All right. Shatta, you have no access to these tools. Please go and use your Zimbabwe GPT-3.
And this is why I keep going back to, I believe this only makes sense. Especially, I don't know, well, we're going to have to talk about it, but the record losses that were leaked to the Financial Times about OpenAI. Local models and small language models are what the future, I think that's what the sustainable future is. These massive LLMs and these businesses are just money incinerators.
Yeah. 100%. I agree with you. So to add some color to what Phil is saying, OpenAI have filed for an IPO. So they haven't done it yet, but they've done a confidential filing to list the company on, or to get a public offering for the company, right? The last valuation for OpenAI was around $850 billion. So I guess they are hoping to raise some staggering amounts with the IPO. However, because they filed, that means they had to put some of their financials out there. And some of those financials leaked. And that's what Phil is referencing. And that company is hemorrhaging cash. It's literally, it's ridiculous because it's like, in the last quarter, we made $80 billion of revenue, but you spent $400 billion. Like, what are we doing here?
Let's bring it up. So I can bring up, let's start with 2024.
Yeah.
So the summary of the 2024's financials. OpenAI had about 3.7 billion in revenue, but 12.4 billion in cost and expenses, and a net loss that was attributed to the company of 5.09 billion. So let's just recap once again.
Net loss of 5 billion.
3.7 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
So net loss of 5 billion.
Yeah,
that's the important.
Revenue of 3.7, cost of revenue 2.65, R&D, research and development, almost $8 billion, sales and marketing 1.1 billion, administrative costs 907 million, total expenses were 12.4 billion, and loss from operations were 8.7. So $8 billion is a lot of money. You know? That's a lot of money. That's big money. But then they were like, nah, guys, 2024 we're just warming up. We need to step it up in 2025. That's when we really got to make this into a legitimate business. And Sam Altman did not disappoint. Revenue, 13 billion. Cost of revenue, 7.5 billion. R&D, 19 billion. Sales and marketing, 5 billion. General administrative costs, 1.5 billion. Total costs and expenses, 34 bida. Total losses from operations alone, 20 billion in 2025. Keep in mind, this run rate is only going to increase in 2026. Yeah. So in the past 2 financial years that they've reported, they've lost cumulatively almost $30 billion. Not spent, lost. How do you make up for a $30 billion loss?
The reason why okay, let me put it this way, right? You've got the optimists, right? The belief there. Okay, before we even go further, remember that a lot of this is fake money. You know what I mean? Like it's
No.
not.
No. These losses are real. This is from actual cash. These losses are incurred from actual VC funding, because every time they raise cash, they have to pay this. The only time where you can say that, and I will agree with you, is with R&D and cost of revenue, because those could be for data centers, those could be for inferred costs, token costs, when they were doing those reach arounds where CoreWeave and NVIDIA were giving them computational for free, blah, 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 blah. But keep in mind, real costs are salaries. Salaries have to be paid.
Yes. So,
Without-
okay,
without a shadow of a doubt.
obviously, I don't mean every single line item in these financials were fake money. But what I do mean is there's a lot of top-level amounts that aren't actual money moving. So, for example, we know that OpenAI had an investment from Microsoft of however many billions, right? And that's not actual money, it's compute. And at the same time, OpenAI have invested in Microsoft and vice versa. It's just circular movements of revenues. And a lot of that is used to try and balance books and try to make it seem like we're not making as much of a loss as it is, and right? So that was the first thing that I was going to say. But the second thing I was going to say is the optimists would believe that AI is essentially it's like the next internet, right? Whoever invested in the internet back in 1990, whatever it was, you're going to make losses for a while, severe losses, because we're all fighting. But once it's all done, you're now the Google who's making money hand over fist because you own the entire index of the internet. You're now the Metas and Facebooks because you have the attention of all social media. So I think a lot of optimists believe that, yes, right now we are losing crazy money. But once we get that AGI, once we put in enough compute, once we have a million Blackwell, GPUs or whatever, we'll start making the money. But then a lot of people are pointing out that, okay, it was all well and good to point out the investments that were going on during before the dot-com burst. But the investments now versus expected returns, there might not actually be that much money in the world. Like that much money might not exist for us to sit and say, for you to make up your money. Do you know how much money OpenAI and Anthropic and Google would have to make for you to earn back the investment that you've made? So I think it's a concerning situation. Also, it's very interesting to pay attention to the OpenAI's relationship with Microsoft, because it started off as a very incestuous relationship. But
no, they were buddy. They were happy. Remember, Satya Nadella basically decided the future of OpenAI and the CEO.
Yes, Sam Altman was basically cooed by Microsoft. Mm-hmm. But I think now that relationship is souring. And I wonder what that's going to mean. In fact, this IPO might be OpenAI's attempt at trying to survive.
It also might be that the inverse could also be true, right? Because Microsoft has so many shares in OpenAI, because they offered them so much compute and server space in the beginning, they now need to see a return on investment, and they're not seeing that. In fact, losses are so bad that even Microsoft is limiting the use of OpenAI within their own company, because as we discussed 2 episodes ago, it's now been switched to cost of inference as opposed to subscription model. So the only way these early investors are going to get their money back is through an IPO where new investors put their money in, and old investors or legacy investors can get an exit and see some form of return on investment. And at this point, I think Microsoft would be happy with just breaking even.
I don't think it's that straightforward. I'll tell you why. I think that, okay, so first of all, a company doesn't go public when it's making losses, because the moment you go public, the market determines your your value. Whereas pre-IPO, there's a little bit of massaging that you can do. Because once you're being publicly traded, you literally wait till day's end to see how much are we worth. So if you're making losses, chances are you're going to be worth less than what you are now. But the fact that they're doing it means they are desperate for cash. At least that's what I think. And they need that cash to make crazy investments because the view is we need more compute. We just need bigger data centers, stronger data centers. We need stronger servers. We need more compute. We just need more money, and then we'll fix it. On top of that, Sam Altman is pushing for the US government to become an investor, essentially, to be, I think it's a 10% owner of OpenAI.
I wonder why that would be. That's an interesting. Why would a company that believes in the free market want the government to be an investor? Dan, do you have any idea?
Yes, absolutely. It's because they know that kumberu kuchafiwa. So if the government is an investor, if the government is an investor, then they'll bail us out surely. Okay. I know I'm speaking very, very confidently as if I know all these details. I'm not a financial markets expert, right? So a lot of this is just me using my inexperienced opinions looking at world movements. So there could be a lot of things that I'm missing, and I don't think people should take what I'm saying as some kind of solid investment advice, because it's not. At the same time, I could be missing a lot. I'm fascinated by just watching the movements of the markets. It looks to me that manje, there's going to be financial bursts. But what I keep saying is the technology now exists. So even if there's a burst in the market, AI is going to exist going forward. The technology has been made. The infrastructure has been put out there. There are now hundreds of thousands of potential GPUs that can be used for this thing. It's just that right now, a lot of them have become redundant because everyone's trying to be the best. But once that race kind of chills out a little bit, it's like, okay. That one there is for enterprise. You guys are trying to get the latest from NVIDIA and whatever the case is. But over here, just for consumer, we can use those old things. Bring them here. It's all right. So I think there'll be a lot of equalizing and so on. The technology is going to exist. Phil's claim about local models, I think is true. I also think in addition to that, not only local, but hyper specialized AI tools. So not general LLM chatbots, right? Not general, tell me about everything. It's going to be like, nah, this is specific for this task. And it was trained on a corpus of data for this specific task. And it can't tell you who was president of Chile in 1943. But this specific task, it knows everything about it. I think that's what the future will be. So I think the general ones will continue to exist, sure, but not as, I don't think AGI is ever going to be a thing. But the local models and the specific models, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see how the public reacts to Apple Intelligence and Siri AI and an actually capable Siri.
Yeah, I would agree with you totally. I think we're heading into we're in the end game now.
We're in the end game.
I think by Q4, the bubble will be close to besticating, and I just hope that all markets aren't so over leveraged in this race that everything else just falls to the wayside. I mean, the housing crisis in 2009 affected us even here in Zimbabwe, right? Because of the interest rates and everything else and access to money. I shudder to think about what the effects could be because the level of investment are orders of magnitude higher. And that's what I'm worried about. So, and I was having this conversation with someone. If you've got money, if you've got investments, get out of markets right now, I would say. Okay, by the way, Broke Twimbos is not a financial advisor. We do not.
I don't know. I disagree, Phil. Okay, I'll tell you why.
I would say right now commodities are where it's at. If you're in commodities or in extraction industries, you're sitting pretty. Look at how much gold is right now. Look at how much silver is trading at right now.
Okay, so hear me out, right? Again, I'm not an expert on this. I'm just with the little information I have. I'm adding 2 + 2 = 7. I don't think the majority of investments in these huge AI companies are from private equity, VC. I don't think it's banks. I'm sure there's some. I think if it bursts, rich people will lose a lot of money and there will definitely be ripples. But I don't think it's going to be as impactful to the rest of the world as the housing crisis or,
You say that now, right? But then keep in mind that I believe it was now 6%. Well, 6% of SpaceX's total share allocation, but it was close to 20% of the IPO was to retail investors. And retail investors are the you and me's of the world, right?
yes.
So if we lose our $150 a share of SpaceX, we're gonna feel that.
Now, to be fair, SpaceX is different to Anthropic and
But it is the same because keep in mind, bundled in that SpaceX IPO is XAI.
yes, I know. So SpaceX specifically, I think that one will cause a lot of people to lose money. But I think SpaceX is slightly different because when people invested, they were like, oh man, rockets? Damn, you got the US government contracts? I think this is a good thing to invest in. Wait, why are you putting this XAI in here? Hey, wait, whoa. And that's why everyone's been so upset, right? But Anthropic, everyone knew what it was from the get-go. OpenAI, everyone knew what it was from the get-go. Google is a little bit different, but Google, as we've already discussed last week, Google has a very cash-rich existing business. So I'm sure they'll be fine either way. I guess my point is there will be huge ripples, especially in certain sectors, but I don't think it'll be global the way it was with some previous bursts. But that's just my gut feeling. I don't know. I honestly think the average person won't even know that it happened. The average person will just continue to use ChatGPT as they always have. The average person won't even know that. Wait, what do you mean? Not knowing that our investors lost a ton of money, we're not able to so I feel like that won't happen.
I don't think that's possible because for ChatGPT as it exists costs money, right? The cost of inference, the cost of running those data centers, the cost of GPUs cost money. They're losing, as we said already, at a ratio of 5-1, all revenue from consumers. That means the cost of these models is not sustainable. So if that scenario that you're describing ever comes to pass, what is going to happen is ChatGPT is going to become severely nerfed to the point of it being almost unusable, or as you said, being very hyper-specific.
No, so okay.
Or being a paid-only model.
The majority of costs for these tools are training, the compute that's needed for training. Inference, actually no, I might be lying. Inference is still a huge cost. But the reason, like all these companies continually have to upgrade continuously. So they need the latest, the best, the strongest potential servers and data centers and GPUs and whatever, right? Once a model has been trained, which is a huge job that is trained over trillions and trillions of parameters and all of that, it exists and it's there. Inference has a compute cost, yes, but I think once the model has been trained, you can realistically expect that we can now use it.
But even within that, so my cost is okay. Model's been trained. You still have to run the data center. That's an electrical overhead. There's a connection overhead. How is that being accounted for?
So let me just quickly, I just want to make sure that I'm not lying. Okay, so inference is quite expensive. So for example, recent estimates show OpenAI spent approximately $12 billion purely on inference compute since 2024, which is very interesting. Whereas baseline pre-trained foundation models, GPT-4 was roughly 100 million. GPT 4.5 was 500 million. Yeah. The research and development expenditure reached 19.8 billion in 20. Yeah. So pre-training R&D is actually more expensive than the inference, but I think there's a lot of stuff that's bundled in there. Inference costs will scale though, because once you increase the parameters. Anyway, by the way, if you really want to get super technical into this stuff, I've started watching a series of videos by Andre Karpathy, who is, I think he's one of the co-founders of ChatGPT. So he's done a bunch of like deep dive videos on YouTube, like literally 3-hour-long videos where he's like, listen, I'm going to try to make this as non-technical as possible. And he proceeds to just mouth it, blah, 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 blah. Like, yo, pause for a second. I need to research like every second word of your sentence. But it's still so fascinating. He explains like how LLMs work, how they were made. And I'm not going to lie. I'm like, yo, this is way more complex than I thought. And you guys are freaking geniuses. But let's move on from this tech conversation, Phil. Let's talk about real meat and potatoes, about real bubbles bursting. Real bubbles bursting. This week, the Zimbabwean government announced a new minimum wage for domestic workers in Zimbabwe. The minimum wage for general domestic workers is $90 a month.
Sorry, Dad. I missed the story, and this was the first. So I'm getting this blind, and I just saw the show notes, and I'm just dying. I'm sorry.
It was an increase from $85 a month. Childminders and not childminders, cooks and housekeepers. Minimum wage is $99 per month. Child or elderly minders.
Whooping, Dan. You forgot the whooping.
$108. And then if you have a Red Cross certificate, $117. Then there's workers who are in unclassified operations. In other words, if you're a worker who does not fall into any of the classified operations, $270 a month. Okay.
We live in the ghetto. We live in the actual ghetto.
But I think there's a lot of very nuanced conversation we can have here. I think everyone can agree, I hope, that $90 a month is way too little. Surely that can't be what people live on. It is, a lot of people are earning less than that. I know that for a fact. A lot of maids are not earning that much. Let me try and outline the two major arguments that I've seen after this announcement. The first is, which I agree with, $90 per month is too little. The government surely can't expect that this minimum wage is a fair minimum wage for domestic workers, maids, gardeners, etc. Government spokesperson, Iva Mangwana, said, guys, this is the minimum. We are saying that if you pay less than this, you go to jail. But you are the ones who must then decide what is a fair wage to pay, which I hear. But critics say, no, but people continue to take advantage of their fellow Zimbabweans by paying the absolute minimum that they're allowed to pay. So there's literally people who are working full-time jobs who are earning only $90 per month, and it's legal. And I get the concern about that. On the flip side, there are some people who are saying, okay, what do you want to happen? If you raise the minimum wage to $200 a month, let's say, I can't afford it now, so I have to fire my maid. Now she doesn't have a job. So I don't have a maid.
So
she doesn't.
You can't afford a maid?
Yes. I can't afford a maid if you increase. Like right now I can with this minimum wage.
That's what I'm saying. People can't afford, and I think ultimately that's the thing, is people are saying the quiet part out loud. You can't afford a maid.
Yes.
But you don't want to live in the reality that you can't afford the maid. So you come up with these weird justifications to prove.
So hold on.
Maybe I can afford a maid.
Don't view it as a justification, right? So what must that maid who had a job who was only earning $100 or $90 but can't afford it anymore, what must she do? Now, I do agree. I think I think a lot of people are using that as a justification to try and explain their entitlement to cheap labor.
Indentured servitude, basically.
However, that having been said, the economy we're in is not one that allows for higher minimum wages. It should. I wish it did. But if I can't afford an employee at the minimum wage, I just won't pay. I just won't hire one. I can't afford it. I can't afford a maid. But that person now doesn't have a source of income. It's not like there's multiple jobs out there. Don't take this one, take the other one out there that can pay more. You just don't have income anymore. So,
but also
the choice
operating
is
that absolute. But it's not an absolute choice though, and because instead of having a full-time maid that you're paying 90, you can have a part-time maid that you also pay 90.
I agree.
That will still be legal.
So, I raise this as a viewpoint. And I just think that both sides of the argument are saying, they're like speaking in absolutes without considering other ramifications. I 100% agree. $90 is way too little. Like, you really expect a person with a job, like literally ndrukwenda ubasa, and for the whole month I have $90. $90 ya unopedza kula parada for snacks. Guys, msadaro guys. And for those who say kuti ayoga, but my salary is $200. My salary is $300. So I pay my maid $60.
That means you can't afford a maid.
The truth of the matter is, it means you can't afford a maid. Maybe what should happen is what Phil said, which is, all right, maid wacho anouya once a week, ndomba $60 yacho. Now she can then find 3 people or 4 people who bring her in once a week for $60, and then now she's earning $240, $300 a month. Shanan, she can afford to at least feed her kids, bro. So I agree with that. But at the same time, I think a lot of people are just saying, so you can't afford a maid. You're like, okay, wait, hold on. In a free market, you would expect the government to put a bare minimum to try and fight exploitation. But otherwise, outside of that, willing buyer, willing seller. So what should the bare minimum be to avoid exploitation? In my opinion, $90 is too low. But I don't think the bare minimum should be $300 or $400. I think people should be earning that much, but I don't know enough about the macroeconomic situation in Zimbabwe and the ebbs and flows of the financial ramifications and the fiscal what's to have
the quantifications and the quantities.
To have a very solid understanding of how much money is the bare minimum to avoid exploitation in Zimbabwe. My gut feeling tells me $90 is too low. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I don't understand when someone says, Aiwaga, if you tell me more than $90, I am firing it. So, I don't know. I think it's a little bit more complex than people are making.
I love how people like wage that as a threat. Like, oh, okay. So you're willing to wash your underwears now.
Yeah. Also, guys, do you know what? Zimbabwe, we live large, eh? You can't, in other countries, you can't afford a maid, period. You can't, what are you talking about? You have a maid. What are you, royalty? But Zimbabwe being the way that it is, it's ultimately it all boils down to the economy, bro. So it's difficult for us to have a conversation about an individual work relationship as a bubble outside of the economy. Because as a bubble, that individual work relationship, $90 is too little, bro. But that same bubble exists in the economy. So I don't know. Also, the raise is just crazy. So it was $85 for the past few years. Like, no, that's too little. Make it 90. Guys.
That wasn't even a 10% increase.
Guys. Got Sadaro, guys. I think a fair minimum wage should be in the region of $300 to $400. Given Zimbabwe's, maybe if you have to take into consideration, the macroeconomic, fiscal, whatever, I'm with 200, I mean. 250, I mean, my minimum. And if you can't afford that, sorry, you can't afford a maid, but maybe there can be freelance work, there can be, that kind of thing. Actually, you know what?
Yeah.
Government, set the minimum at 300. Then someone entrepreneurial comes up and says, you know what? You can't afford a maid full-time anymore. However, here's our maid service where you can hire maid as a service or mass. And you pay, what were you paying before? $60 per month? $80 per month? Boy, you pay that $80 per month. A maid comes in once a week to do your cleaning. We are now finding multiple people. Each of those maids now gets their minimum, or at least not minimum, but a fair amount. And we're able to calculate service fees. There you go. Maid as a service. Mass. You're welcome for the idea.
Also, and also when it's multiple maids, it's amasi.
I would love to hear what other people think because.
So wait. I'm a CC.
No, okay. All right.
That's funny.
But that's mad, bro. $90 a whole month. Uri mama, uri
Guys,
vana, sha.
well, it's
That's
like
so
that episode.
sad,
I don't know
bro.
if you ever watched that episode of Anthony Bourdain's show when he went to the Singapore.
Mm-mm.
And they were talking about like how everyone has maids and basically like their salaries were coming down to like sometimes $1.50 a day.
Yeah.
And he got so pissed. He's like, so you guys are just slave owners? And they were all, no, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like we're giving them dignity. I'm like, for $30 a month, are you mad?
Some people feel even the whole concept or idea of having a maid or domestic worker is very a colonial relic. It's basically indentured servitude. It's class distinctions and so on, which I agree. I think to a certain extent it is.
Especially when you look at the fact that when you break it down to brass tacks, the middle class in Zimbabwe really can't afford a maid. Like, when you look at the lives these women have, well, let's just say domestic workers in general have to live, it's not the most dignified.
No, there's very limited dignity. I try to be fair with what we pay Nyasha.
Nyasha also a podcast celeb.
Nyasha is not a full-time maid. She only comes in 2 days a week for us. If she was full-time, I think if she was full-time with the current rate that we pay her, she would be roughly. Let me not reveal people's pay.
No, all I'll say is for me, Nyasha as well is also my maid. Nyasha comes in twice a week for me.
Mm-hmm.
No, well, actually, she comes in twice a week. She alternates, so twice a week, and then the following week is once a week, and then twice a week the following week. So she'll come in like what's that? 6 times a month, something like that. And at 6 times a month, she's already earning. I pay her more than the minimum salary now, the adjusted minimum
Yes,
salary.
same. But
because I fear God.
I'm trying to see if you're coming in 2 days a week, if I were to extrapolate to the full week, if she came in 5 days a week, would it equal my claimed minimum being 300? That's what I'm trying to calculate. I think it would.
For me, yeah, she'd easily surpass that.
Yeah, because yeah, she would. It would actually be round about that much. But anyway, I think, guys, nothing is straightforward. $90 is too little, but 0 is less. We must be pushing for a better economy so that $90 is not even an option. But as of right now, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it should be slightly more. I think it should be at least slightly more. And then overall, I have to find out because Papa is. Anyway, some quick updates, Phil. Do you remember our 2 friends in Love Island, Simba and Angelista?
Yes, Mr. Mirivo.
I am not watching. I'm not watching the show, but I did see clips. Apparently, Simba was like, "Hey, whoa! It's too early, yo. We don't have to. There's no need for boundaries yet." And she was like, "Wait,
we
what
don't
are you
need to put a
saying?
label on this right now.
Like, what you saying? What you say? You ruined my day."
Yeah, man.
And he's like, "Oh, my days." I saw a little bit of a kerfuffle going on between them, which made me chuckle. I thought I'd mention on the podcast. Zimbabwe has brought home almost 700 citizens from South Africa this month because of the anti-immigrant tension.
I've got a lot of thoughts on this, actually, and first-hand experience. So where I am, I'm very near some embassies. I shared a video in the group. I don't know if you saw it, Dan.
I did see it, yes.
So I was on a jog yesterday evening where, funny enough, maybe in my panic, I ran away too fast and I tripped and then I fell and I dislocated the finger. That's why my hand is swollen. And at this embassy were well over 20 buses and a pretty strong police presence that were there to start ferrying individuals of this country back to their homeland. And this obviously comes on the heels of Cyril Ramaphosa's speech, you know, the calm for observation of the law, blah, 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 blah. And it seems like that was just lip service because it looks like it's now become almost a quasi-official position that this June 30 deadline is going to be enforced.
There's I have a lot of complex thoughts here. At the core of it is I am very worried by what seems to be a very widespread sentiment in South Africa. But at the same time, I recognize that there are a lot of South Africans who don't have that same hate in their heart. So I don't want to paint an entire nation with the same brush. In fact, I might argue that the majority of South Africans are not xenophobic. But that loud minority, it's such a dark hearts, man. And like, even when you see people like argue their case, and it's like, bro, it just feels so dark.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, economy. Gadzira economy and you'll see. But I gadzira, guys. Anyway, Phil, let's wrap things up on that cheery note.
A very cheery note, I think. Okay, what's happening this weekend?
Real quick, the new Spider-Man the trailer for Spider-Man New Day just dropped. Yo, it got me so hyped for the movie. It like looks so good. So very excited about Spider-Man Brand New Day coming out soon. In the meantime, Jumbo Pizza, Polygamist.
Also, just to say that Jonasi was not a polygamist. There's a difference.
Quick plug, guys. Or not a plug, I guess, just giving you something that I discovered this week that I was like, yo, this is the official Apple Sports app is so good.
Oh, I was about to say the same thing. I was looking at it right now.
It's so good. Keeping up with the World Cup, even Formula One, all of that. Like, I just mark all the things that I want to.
Shout out to Lewis. Shout out to Lewis. I watched that race in the office this weekend. Oh, I had such a good time. I got no work done, but it was such a joy watching Lewis winning again.
Where was I? Was I on Sunday? I didn't watch it, but I had the so you know because it's a native Apple Sports app. You have to download it. It's very easy to integrate like the widgets and the live events and what. Man, it's just such a great way to keep up with sport. It's not a thing that you sit and like watch. It's just a great sort of quick update or keep you updated on what's happening.
Yeah.
So I recommend you guys check it out.
Google has the same functionality, and
if you have an iPhone
this weekend, I think maybe because of the creation of this app. If you have what?
If you have an iPhone, that is.
Yeah, the Google app on iPhone is pretty really good, and what they added this weekend was also live updates for Formula One. So literally lap by lap updates in the widget. So it's got a widget on my lock screen, and it's got a widget on the action button, and the dynamic island. That is really dope. But I think Apple Sports takes it a step further because it's got more integrations with Apple devices. But those are really two really, really, really dope apps. And the Google app on Android TV is really dope because now you can watch a game or you can stream, and then on the side you can get the live scores, or whenever a goal comes in, you just get a notification on your TV, which is really dope as well.
Dope. So yeah, there's our recommendation to you guys. Apart from that, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us for another episode. We have decided that, you know what, for now, don't wait as they will meet ne iko cash. So if you would, yeah.
So if you got, please send DM us, and then we'll give you the details to send to Dan's number. Shout out to the people that have already begun doing that. So those people that are behind on their dues, we are giving you a reprieve. This is a short window to act now and pay your dues before we come knocking. Because keep in mind, the minimum age is 90. We can afford to send bouncers to your door for minimal costs.
But does that include bouncers? Anyway. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning into another episode. Enjoy the rest of the World Cup. Enjoy Polygamist, those of you who haven't watched it. Sorry about your Jonasis in your life if you have them. If you are a Jonasi, change your ways, please. Come on. And I guess on that note, we'll catch you in the next one.
Jonasis don't have any self-awareness.
Yeah. You think they watch the show and they're just like, hey, this guy.
I can't. Can you believe this? Wow. Meanwhile, the woman is just seething over there.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we'll catch you in the next one. We out. Bye-bye.